Welcome to Mother's Haven, a podcast where mothers are challenged to try for more through access to help, hope, and a pathway to healing. Every mother goes through various phases and seasons where they daily navigate distress, discomfort, and wholesome experiences. I have personally walked the path of various pain points and experienced certain life changing situations in my own journey, which actually brings me here to offer you a hand to help, a voice of hope, and a pathway to healing. Each time you listen, a rush of liberation comes through because I'm here to validate your freedom and also to challenge you to be a mother and much more. Welcome to Mother's Haven podcast. Today we have an amazing guest, super awesome woman. She is loaded, she's amazing, and I wouldn't want to let the cat out of the bed. So the next voice to be here will be hers, and she'll be telling us about herself. She'll be telling us what she does and how she impacts a generation in a very special way. So over to you.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. My name is Amaka Odunawo, and I am very honored to be here. Thank you so much, Team Tokwe, for inviting me, and thank you for all the great and amazing work you do. This podcast has been a blessing. I've actually listened to episodes and well done. It's a blessing to all of us. So my name is Amaka Odunawo. I am a Christian family strategist. I am passionate about helping families to impose kingdom culture in their homes. I work with wives, helping them to plan and structure their lives so that they can have the joyful and peaceful home of their dreams. I also work with parents, helping them to create and implement strategies to raise godly, confident, and capable children. I create resources for children, really anything around family. That's where you find me. That's where you find me burning, and that's where you find me speaking about different things hours on end. So yeah, that's what I do, and I am so excited to be here. Thank you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. We're honored to have you, a privilege to have you on the show. Awesome. So our listeners, if you need a family coach, you need someone to talk to about providing impeccable care to your children and being a super amazing and awesome wife, you should definitely subscribe to her mailing list and get to her website and everything about her. We'll get into details on how you can reach her. So the business of today, we'll be talking about intentionality and the journey to significance. Because from my own life experiences, I've come to realize that if I am not intentional about anything, execution or getting results will be next to zero, because I'll just end up procrastinating. I just end up pushing it forward, or just end up living life as life presents. Whereas we should actually live life by design. And it's not enough to design our lives, it's also important to apply a large sense of intentionality to it. If we know we want to live an impactful life, a significant life, and an elevating life. So, Madam Amaka.
Madam.
All right. So please, I would like you to shed as much light as led to our listeners, our mothers out there, our new wives and our young ladies, on your own life experiences, how intentionality has helped you and your journey to even get into where you are.
My life's experiences. Okay. I was thinking about the topic, and one phrase that came to me was diamond in the rough. How a diamond is a diamond, right? A diamond has always been a diamond, but till it is mined and processed and chiseled, and it goes through all those things that it goes through, it doesn't become. It doesn't. It's always, the diamond has always had significance hidden within, right? But it is not. It's not worthy of attention. It's not worthy of the value. It has it within itself, but it doesn't show it. People can't see it. The world can't see it. And even in our lives as women, wives, mothers, sisters, daughters, the people around us cannot see it because we do not intentionally show forth that thing that is us, that is at our core. And I think that was my story for a very long time, where I grew up and my parents saw certain strengths in me, but because those were not the celebrated strengths, those were not the strengths teachers in schools were celebrating, those were not the strengths that were getting awards, those were not the strengths that my friends had, I felt like my parents say these things because they love me, but it's not that important. And so growing up, I kept trying to, how should I put it? So in 2015, I knew I was supposed to be coaching wives and parents. 2014 actually, but 2015, I was like, okay, yes, this is what you're supposed to do. Like, be serious and do this thing. But I didn't do it because it wasn't a thing in Nigeria then. It wasn't popular to be a coach. It wasn't popular to be a counselor if you are not a pastor in church. And, it wasn't something that would make money. It was something that, if they asked me, what's your plan? What are you going to do? I couldn't explain to anybody. And when I tried to explain, people looked down on me. I remember joining this program in 2018. Then in 2018, I paid 120,000 naira for this program. And I joined this program because I was like, I want to coach. I want to help parents. But I joined the program and my teammates were like, what? Like, it didn't make sense to anybody. Like, we had owners of international schools. We had people running businesses. We had somebody that was setting up a tissue paper factory. Like, you had awesome people doing great things. But what I wanted to do with parenting and with families didn't make sense to anybody. And I dropped it and I picked a totally different topic, which failed. All the money I put inside that business failed. Why? Because I was trying to be significant, not realizing that my significance wasn't going to come from the outside. My significance was going to come from within. My significance wasn't going to be based on comparing myself to other people or other people's journeys. My significance was going to come when I paid attention to what God had put on my inside, and I deliberately began to groom it and grow it and learn about it and pray about it and think about it and upskill and practice and experiment and do all these things. And then at that point, it now begins to shine. And then other people. So if you wait for everybody else to acknowledge you, which was my story, nobody's going to acknowledge you because they didn't create you. It was God that created you. And before the world began, loved you and chose you and adopted you and gave you good work to do. He was the one that formed you and gave you this vision and this goal and gave you an assignment to tear down and pull down whatever sector, even if it's just your children and your family, but if you keep looking at other people for your validation or comparing your journey to them, nothing you will do would make sense, if we can put it that way, because your significance, what makes you significant is what's on the inside. And if you do not deliberately put in the work on that thing, that core, that gift, that purpose, that calling, if you don't put in the work to upskill and improve who you really are and not try to make yourself somebody else, you will fail. Because at the end of the day, 100 million times zero is zero.
Wow, 100 million times zero is zero. 100 billion times zero, it would also be zero.
Also zero.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much. And there was something that you mentioned. You said significance doesn't come from outside, but within. And I know a lot of people are dependent on those around them. Some are even dependent on their mentors to achieve significance. And we see them moving from one person to the other, one program to the other, because they have actually not worked on their personal growth. They have not worked on the person inside of them, such that change, that core transformation that's been mentioned, cannot happen because it does not happen on the inside. And you also said it's not from comparison. And I'll now even say, but I would believe it's also from authenticity, which also comes from you. So if you're not true to you, if you're consistently comparing yourself to others, you won't be able to achieve significance, because you're not in a race against other people. You're in a race for yourself to achieve that which that God has said you should achieve. Wow,
awesome. I love
so
it.
much. Thank you so much. So it brings me to my next question about the journey to significance, intentionality. People tend to set goals, and I know you're quite versed about that, about goal setting. For some, it's the vision board. You have the pictures on the wall, you have the goals written out, and then they do this year in, year out. You remember when we used to talk about New Year.
Yeah, new you.
Yes, New Year, new you. And then you say, okay, you're going to change, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And at the end of the day, by February or by, at worst, March, they are back to the same habits, they're back to the same systems, because there's that gap with intentionality. So I would like you to speak a little bit more to that, especially as mothers. I see that some mothers are quick to giving excuses because of the tasks that they have around them, because of the roles and responsibilities that they are occupied with. And for some who are breadwinners, because of the work pressure that has been added to the things that they do. And then you also have to be a valuable wife to your spouse. You have to be present for your spouse. You have to be present for the children. And all of these things are very, very important. And they now solidly use it as excuses not to be able to achieve what they have on their inside, not to be able to bring out that significance that they have within, because of the so many things that are hovering around them on the outside. So what would be your advice? Because I know you talked about helping wives put in structure and all. So what would be your advice, that in as much as all of these things are very important, the significant mother, the significant you still has to spring forth? How can they apply intentionality to get to that point?
I love this question, and honestly, we can have a masterclass on this question. But let me see. Okay, so I feel like a lot of times women don't realize. There's a phrase that's very popular now, and people say it, but we don't get it. You are the value. It is you, like everything, who you are as a wife, as a mother, in your job, in your role in church or in ministry, as a daughter, as a sister, stems from you. You are not divided into 8 different people or 8 different personalities. It's you. And a reason why a lot of us have issues balancing our roles and expectations and priorities is because we don't know us. we don't know who we are. We don't know who this person I am, what the person should be aiming at. So the truth is, we cannot be intentional if we don't have anything to be intentional about. I answered this question about time management. I'm like, if you have money that does not have a goal, like you just put money in, if it's not a high yielding interest account, or a fixed deposit or something that that, okay, this is bringing a lot of interest. If it's like a typical account that, say in Nigeria, for instance, that you keep money in, but your money will depreciate after a while, right? Inflation is going to happen. Different things are going to happen because that's the way the world works. Okay. If you don't deliberately say this money has a goal, this money has a purpose, then you're not going to be able to do anything that makes sense with it. You'll most likely waste it. It's the same thing with time. If you don't say, oh, this time has a goal, this time has a purpose, this is what I'm investing in, this is the returns I want to see on it, then you're just going to waste it. It's the same thing with yourself. If you don't say, Amaka has a goal, Amaka has a purpose, this is what Amaka is trying to achieve, this is who Amaka is trying to become, then I'm going to waste my life. And so we see people setting goals according to what other people are. So all these hashtag goals on Instagram, other people's lives, other people's families, trying to run your home to please your mother or to please your mommy Jiho. All these things are the things that are the reasons why we don't set goals. We talked about authenticity. If your goals are not authentic to you, then half of the power, half of the energy to achieve those goals are gone because you can't see it. You can't see that vision. And if you can't see it, you can't go in that direction. If you don't have anything to be intentional about, you cannot be intentional. And so for a lot of wives and mothers, they forget that flowing from that, I am not a different person. I'm flowing from a core. I'm not a different person at work than I am at home. It's the same talents and giftings. It's the same skills, okay, that I use in church, that I most likely use at work, that I most likely use in my home, that I most likely use in my marriage, that I use in my relationship with my parents. It might differ in practice and activities, but the underlying principles don't change, because if I am a whole person, then I'm not changing. Do you get what I'm saying? So I feel like a lot of times women, first of all, don't know themselves. They don't know what they want. They're running helter-skelter, pursuing everything else, apart from what is important. Because if I sit down to ask a typical woman to articulate to me and just gist me what her goals, what her plans, how does she envision her life, give me adjectives, give me keywords, give me a description, tell me something you're working towards, tell me something you're upskilling towards, even in terms of just being you. Let's not even talk about being a wife or a mother, even just being you. A lot of people cannot give me those answers. They cannot give themselves those answers because they've not taken time to know those answers. But we are setting goals because it looks nice, because we went for a master class and somebody set those goals. But what if that is not the lane you're supposed to be? What if that's not the journey you're supposed to be on? What if that's not the journey what God wants you to be on? What if it's something you should be doing later? What if right now you just do not have the capacity and the resources to do those things? And so I feel like we should take things a step at a time. We should know ourselves. We should flow from our core, and we should focus on our focus. We shouldn't be all over the place. Like, streamline it, narrow it. Okay, narrow your focus, narrow what you expend your time and your energy on, and then put your best into it. And be clear. Just be very clear. Be able to just sit down, audit your life, and vision, dream, clarify what you want to do that has nothing to do with what the Lagbajas and Okoros are doing. So yeah, if I was talking about goal setting and fulfilling purpose for a woman, that's in a large nutshell, that's probably what I would say.
Honestly, you did super justice to it. I know the question will actually require a masterclass, honestly. But yes. And I would say I'll bring out some of the points that you mentioned. You started with you are the value, and that's those four words actually carry a whole lot of power that most women don't even understand or comprehend. And I'll really advise our listeners to go sit down, discover yourself, discover the value that you actually have to offer. And you mentioned focus on your focus, narrow your focus. And it's very true that most people don't even know what they want. They just know what the African tradition or what society believes they should desire. And they just do things because that's what people seem to expect them to do, not really because that's what they desire to do. And then once you're able to itemize what you really want, you also mentioned that they should be clear. We cannot overemphasize the place of clarity in everything that we do. So it's very, very important that in the midst of all of the ideas that you have, all of the goals you're setting, let everything be clear to be able to direct you on the journey to where exactly you have in mind that you're going. And I love the audit your life because most of the time, most people's lives are full of a lot of things, a lot of friendships that shouldn't be, a lot of activities that really shouldn't be, a lot of responsibilities that are not your own that you seem to carry, a lot of let me say maybe extended family burden that you shouldn't really put all over yourself. And I don't know, maybe it's the womanhood. We tend to carry so much, we tend to worry so much. And most of the time, we find that when women begin to get older and older, they begin to get hypertensive, not because they should really, but because of all of these things that has happened in their lives. And finally, I'll speak on the part where you said they should have visions, they should dream. I think women should do more with exposing themselves to be able to be significant, because if you have not seen a certain realm, if you have not been exposed to certain environments, it will be difficult for your mind to be able to wrap itself around that level of elevation. And I like how you mentioned that you had to pay a particular amount of money in 2018 for a particular program. There are so many women out there who haven't even paid 10,000, 20,000 for a program that would develop themselves, and they can afford it. So I'm not even talking of women who cannot afford to even pay. I'm talking of those who can, but have not even built themselves up to the point that they know that they should invest in their knowledge, invest in their exposure, invest in the quality of friends that they should have that can also help them in this journey of significance and intentionality. Because if you really have good network, you have good friends, they can also support you and help you and push you, remind you to stay true to your goals, stay true to the things that you've said you wanted to do, such that you don't have friends that will say, that's how you said you would do it last year. And you say it again this year and say that's how you say you did it last year, but they have not really taken any active steps to put you on your toes to ensure that you achieve it. So there's also that place of network also as well in helping us be able to achieve that which we need to achieve. I really, really appreciate all the awesome nugget that you're giving to us. And I'll be asking if you have any final words for listeners, what they can hold on to, what they can stay true to help them stay intentional, to help them on their journey through personal growth up to the point of even achieving a significant life.
Thank you. I think what I'll say is act or no they die. Refuse to refuse to be a victim of your life. It's your life. No matter the situation, no matter the circumstance, no matter how bad things get, refuse to wallow. Everything you go through is you can either look at it as something that is pounding you down, or you can look at it as something that's going to lift you up. It's going to be part of your story. Okay, so me going through a program and, wasting all the money, which is only one of the programs I went through, and wasting the money, the failures because of, the monies I invested into a business I wasn't supposed to be in at the time and all of that. It's just a part of my story right now. And don't be a victim of your life. Just take aim. Okay, just have an aim. Have the mindset that, see, I can grow, I can learn. I'm not going to be here forever. This is just a phase. This is going to help me. Have vision, be clear. Stop comparing yourself to other people. The Bible says those that compare themselves with themselves, they are not wise. In other words, they are foolish if you do so. And remember that you are already significant. God created with good work. Okay, He had a plan and purpose for you. He created you. He said you are good. He loved you, chose you, adopted you. So you are already significant. You just have to put in the work so that significance shows and impacts the generation.
Wow, you're already significant. I am already significant. Timitope is already significant. I love that. I'm so adding that to my affirmations. Thank you so much. And how can our listeners reach you? How can they connect with you?
How they can connect to me? Okay, you can search for the Purposeful Christian Wife on Google for the website. You can also search me out on Instagram on the Purposeful Christian Wife as well.
All right. Thank you so much.
You can email me, Amaka at the Purposeful Christian Wife.
Okay, Amaka at the purposefulchristianwife.com.
Yeah.
Right? Or the Purposeful Christian Wife on Instagram or Google. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for being a very wise and epic and impactful guest on Mother's Haven podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you, and God bless you.
God bless you too.
Thank you for joining us on this episode on Mother's Haven podcast. I believe you've had a life-changing and liberating experience. To connect with us or reach out for support, we got you. Kindly send us a DM on Instagram at Mother's Haven or on mothershaven.com. Also, kindly hit the subscribe button to catch every new episode of our validating and inspiring content. Do also leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you.